In the latest installment of Go Woke or Go Broke, just days after a nature documentary hosted by former President Barack Obama launched on Netflix, well, the streaming company is in shambles with its shares in free fall after pivoting to, well, more woke content. You can see some of the posters up there of what they are producing. And Netflix has taken a pretty hard hit. Tesla CEO Elon Musk even noting as well, he tweeted, "The woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable." Just this week, the company reported that massive drop in subscriptions earlier this week. They lost 40% immediately. That is more than $50 billion in value for the entire company. And we want to bring in our Michael Savage to discuss this, the host of the Michael Savage podcast and the author of this great book, Our Fight for America. Good to have you with us as always on Saturday, Michael. Wow, Netflix, it's hard to, when they putting out this woke content, we're not surprised that people are turning off. They don't want this.
Bianca, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to see you again. You just showed a poster of some of their so-called woke content. Woke means the war on traditional family values, doesn't it? Let's be clear. That poster was of a new Netflix release entitled He's Expecting, a Japanese film about a cisgender man forced to confront social iniquities he'd never considered before when he becomes pregnant. I would call that mentally disordered. I wouldn't call that woke. People cannot take it anymore. Now, I've been watching Netflix for many years. I love movies. I'm a movie fanatic. And I have a whole list of Netflix movies that I love. But I've noticed something happen in the last 2 years in particular. Every film works in a certain anti-family theme or message. But I would be remiss, Bianca, if I said it was only because of wokeness and the Obama's influence that the Netflix stock has crashed. I spoke with a financial expert today who told me that it has to do as much with the fact that there's no growth for them in the future. He said to me the last 2 years when money was free with low interest rates, every high-tech stock was flying because there was hope that there would be growth in the future. So they didn't care how much money they made or lost. And now that interest rates have risen, everyone's suddenly focused again on whether a company makes money or not. And if they have no growth in the future, it is over for them.
And that Michael, did you notice, too, that they said they're going to go after people sharing passwords there? They've got to make money off some of them. I mean, if you have a household of 4 people, we're all going to have the same Netflix account. Come on.
But I think that's a bunch of double talk because Netflix subscribers have been sharing their login credentials with friends and family since day one. And they're using this excuse as a way to hide the fact that people don't want to watch all of the anti-family or woke content that Netflix is peddling to its users. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that their stock may rise again. We have to look ahead. When they cut costs, it may rise again because they overspent for all of the content. And all these tech companies fought with each other for content and overpaid. They were in a bidding war. That is over. Now you got to remember, Russia was cut off from Netflix. Ukraine cut off from Netflix. This is a big factor in the collapse of this particular Netflix story.
You know, and the other thing, too, where I got turned off, too, was that Cuties. And I think the attack on the nuclear family, but that Cuties series was really, as a mother, something that I was like, what? Who's watching this? And, it was shocking.
Well, there are other things that they run that are as offensive to me as an older man. You don't have to spell it out. They're pushing this radical 0.1% leftist phenomenon of insanity. Liberalism is a mental disorder at that level. People do not like this garbage, but there's no escaping it. But where do we go, Bianca? There is nowhere to go that is not contaminated. Sports are now contaminaminated. Viewership record highs. We can't fight it everywhere.
Well, there is, fortunately, there is some alternative and some Christian programming. The self-funded series, The Chosen, was a great product that came out that I know a lot of people are getting behind. So hopefully there is some options for folks out there. Of course, they want pure and, honest entertainment. Michael Savage, we've got to leave it there. But as always, great to see you. Thank you so much.
I watch 50s noir movies when I can't take it anymore. I go back to the early 50s, black and white. I know how it begins and how it ends. I know who the heroes are. I know who the villains are.
There you
Thanks
go.
for having me on. Pleasure to see you.
Wonderful to see you, too. Thank you.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest-growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them. Tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.